My thesis this evening is that at some point in our careers, we're all going to end up at the other end of this, and we're going to be the disruptees. We're going to be ticking along in our startup, which is going very well, and we've become established, and all of a sudden we're going to discover that our market has changed underneath us. Our users are different, our distribution methods are different, our cost structures are different, things are happening beyond our control. My other thesis is that this is eminently survivable. You can survive and thrive through this. And so what I'm going to do is go through a very short personal history of being both a disruptor in the early days and then a disruptee. So this is what disruption looked like in 1980. That's our team on the left-hand side, and we're holding a computer which is busy disrupting the guy on the right, who's using a computer which is about the size of a fridge, and ours is about the size of a book. What we're doing there is creating a computer that was attractive to completely different users, was used for different things, had a different price structure. We were completely changing the perspective of what it meant to be a computer supplier. That company was Acorn Computers. It was very successful, and about 3 years after that picture was taken, the guys developed the ARM chip, and it's still being successful now. So I left that, I continued my startup career. I ended up in San Francisco at a company called Macromedia, and for a while we were the cool kids south of Market. We developed multimedia software, we had engineers with shaved heads, and we had an office south of Market. It was great. And then all of a sudden we woke up in 1996 and we weren't the cool kids anymore. This guy was the cool kid. Worse than that, our developers were suddenly wanting to develop different things. They weren't developing things that were heavy on graphics and sound and video. They were developing things that were light and sparse, and they were worried about cost, and they were worried about download times. And so our business was being pulled out from underneath us. So we had to go through a transformation, and the transformation was in the end successful. This is the end result. The company was bought for about $3.5 billion, which is good. Even now it's good. Some of the technology that was created in that period still has some force now. So what happened, there was a gigantic change of perspective in the company. And this is kind of thing, you can see this kind of thing happening all around us now. Google is trying to become a social company. Facebook is trying to become a mobile company. And this is different from changing your products. It's a complete change of perspective. So I'm going to go through a list of things that worked. One of the first things that worked was visionary advice. We were lucky enough to have John Doerr on our board, and he spent many board meetings just berating us that we had to make a change. You got to make a change. And the other good thing that worked there was our CEO actually listened. For those of you who are involved in board meetings, that's not entirely usual. Okay, so the next thing that happened was we made a fuss at the executive level. That sounds like setting direction, and it sort of is, but it's kind of setting direction in the same way that standing in front of a wagon train and saying, head west is setting direction. The people in the wagon train are kind of going, well, does he mean Oregon, or like Sierras, or Mexico? It's not, west. So you need new people, is the next thing. And the reason you need new people is that changing personal perspective is hard. So you don't want to change the perspective of everybody in the organization. You have to get new people. Once you've got new people, now we're into the lean stuff. We didn't call it lean at the time. What we did was lots of small projects. Some of the projects were as short as a 3-hour meeting. You go into a 3-hour meeting and say, what about tools for multi-user 3D environments? And you can't, no, that's not going to work. So through all of this, some of us were able to practice beginner's mind. I'm not saying I was, some were not. The point here is that you're no longer an expert. You think you're an expert because you're a public company, you've done very well, you've got a lot of things going right, but you're not, because the new business is new. You're a beginner in the new business. So you have to know that and get into practice and pratfalls. This doesn't work. Getting a bunch of brainy people in a room and writing some boxes and putting arrows between them, it really doesn't. The reason is that you're not experts, you're beginners. So you can connect all the boxes you want, you're gonna be wrong, right? So, to put it in a nutshell, this is what I learned, and if I had to go through this transition again, and I wouldn't mind at some point, this is what I would do. Make it look all nice and pretty. It wasn't pretty at the time, but this is what it would look like. The last thing I want to say is, we actually had a chart like this at Macromedia, and it worked. So the green area is your old business, and the blue is the new business, and you want the blue one to take over smoothly from the old one. Sometimes it doesn't, and the worst thing that can happen is you hold on to the old business in the hope that the new business is going to happen. And then you hold on, and you're in this loop where you're saying, well, we can't put resources in the new thing because the old one's failing. And we can't put resources in the new one because the old one's failing, and then bang, you're done. So, in summary, listen, find a mentor you can meet once a month, a paranoid mentor, listen. Get some new people if you have to make the change, experiment with the new people, do all the lean experiments, And when you have to jump to the new business, and it means taking a bad quarter or dumping some results, you got to do it. You got to go to the new business. Thanks very much. Look forward to continuing the conversation later on.